You've had a busy week and you're feeling incomplete, but there's a place you know where you can find the way. You get out on the lanes and you're smoking like a train, and you know that this could be your lucky day. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowling. Take it away. Let's go bowling. Let's go bowling. Take it away.
Let's Go Bowling, brought to you by True Value Hardware. More than just a name, it's their way of doing business.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Go Bowling. I'm your host, Hub Burton, coming to you from our Candlepin home in Southampton, Massachusetts, Canal Lanes. We are embarking upon an exciting 12-week series of men's scratch division bowling. There's lots to tell you about as far as special incentives, but we'll highlight some of them right now. Of course, as always, should anyone manage 3 consecutive marks in our total pinfall format, our 3-game now total pinfall format, that'll be good for $25. And then for each additional consecutive mark after that, $25 more. Now, should anyone manage to put together 3 consecutive strikes, that is $100. And there are lots of extras that we'll go over as the game progresses and the games progress. One we'd like to highlight for you, however, and that is a home viewer participation segment. We're especially excited about this, a chance to involve you viewers at home in our action out here, and we'll give you the details very early on in Game 1 to get you up to speed and hopefully give us all a chance to get adjusted to what should be an outstanding and very exciting segment of Let's Go Bowling. Without any further hesitation, let's meet the competitors for this first match of our new 12-week series. And, of course, coming back to defend that championship at a Holyoke Bowlodrome, Jim Orlandi, going up against our challenger out of Imperial Bowl, Jess Heisler. And we'll be back with the first 5 frames right after this.
A lot of people who don't think they need a hearing aid may already have one.
Up 2 streets, take a right.
He said up 2 streets and take a right.
They bring their hearing aid with them wherever they go.
What'd he say?
He said he doesn't want to leave her, but he has to.
And if they forget their hearing aid, they'll find one.
Vinaigrette.
She said Italian, Thousand Island, or vinaigrette? Vinaigrette.
Now there's a hearing aid for people reluctant to wear one. It's called Miracle Ear. Because hard as it may be to believe, that's precisely what it is. If you have nerve deafness and have been told nothing can be done for you, Miracle Ear could help. If you can hear people talk but can't understand all the words, Miracle Ear could help. If you're concerned how a hearing aid will make you look, people probably won't even know you're wearing a Miracle Ear unless you tell them. Miracle Ear is so tiny, it's practically unnoticeable, but a hearing problem can be very noticeable.
Next?
She said next.
Oh.
Still reluctant? Maybe you need more information. Call 1-800-824-2700 and receive this free booklet. You'll get the facts you need to make an informed, intelligent decision about your hearing needs and which steps, if any, to take next. You'll even learn how you can get a free hearing test. Just
He said speak now or forever hold your peace.
ask your doctor about Miracle Ear or call 1-800-824-2700. The phone call is free. The helpful information is free. Our hearing test is also free. Call Miracle Ear now, because when you're losing your hearing, the worst thing to do is nothing.
What did he say?
And starting us off this afternoon in our new 12-week series of scratch division matches, familiar face. It's Jess Heisler. Starts out with 5 pins, has the 1, 2, 4, 7, and the 10. And as the show progresses, we'll update you on some exciting incentives that we have for bowlers. Ooh, we almost slid the 10 out. As it is, still has the 1, 2, 10. Did not touch off the head pin. Jess Heisler has made 4 previous appearances on Let's Go Bowling. He's going up against a real veteran today in Jimmy Orlandi, who has put together, well, this will be the completion of Jimmy's 2nd dozen on the show, 24.
He's got 23 going up to now.
Jess has got the 10-pin down with the double wood out here. I think he's going to actually play the thing safe.
Did not get there. A big spare opportunity. And he misses it. So now he has to go back, try and scramble for the 10. And does not get the 10 either, so Jess Heisler with a little bit of trouble. While we have a moment, and while Jimmy Orlandi gets up onto lane 14, we can tell you that the prize money format breaks down this way. $200 to our winner, $100 to our loser. Jim Orlandi would have loved to have picked up the 10-pin. He didn't get it. 5 down on lane 14. Anybody with the triple strike, as we mentioned, earning $100. Anybody with the 3-mark string, $25. And then for each additional consecutive mark, $25 more dollars, enough to get back for the 7, not quite. Our jackpot shot at the end of the show, not going to be the high-low jack. For the right-hand bowlers, it'll be the 6-7. And Jim with a nice piece of work to take care of the 7-pin. And for the lefties, that'll be the 4-10, adjusting, of course, to allow for the angle on that shot. And this is something which I think is going to make for a lot of excitement. Jim Orlandi with 8 pins leaves the 4-7. We're going to start out with $50 for anybody who can pick up the 6-7 or 4-10, and then each week till somebody knocks them down, we're going to add $25 more. That could get interesting. And of course, as Jim Orlandi goes to finish it off, solid 7-pin. The black and white TV is still out there for the high single. The shirts that our bowlers are wearing today, they get to keep. That's another nice touch, I think, on this series. Jim Orlandi with that 10, and for lefty, that's a tough shot to pick off the 7. And for anyone putting together a 3-game total of $400 or better, $50, the 4 horsemen for Jess Heisler. So there's a lot there.
I'm adding, I think, about $700 or something. That'll give you a chance to catch your breath out here. There's so many prizes on a brand new format. We're all excited about it.
And Jess Heisler didn't like that the minute it left the hand.
Yeah. I think, just interrupting over here, I think Jess is really caught up in the old format. He doesn't realize now that he's got a whole hour. It seems like both of our bowlers are rushing with the half-hour segment. And now I'm sure that we're going to see them relax, and we're going to see some top-notch bowling before the afternoon's over.
Jess Heisler leaves another single pin. Turns out he leaves the 10, 25 pins through 3. He goes by 4 pins through 2. But when you got 3 games, to say that we're early is the understatement of the century.
This is one of Jess' comments about the new show out here, the fact that he's got a whole hour to make up his timing and everything else. He's not rushing it.
4 pins left. 1, 2, 4, and the 8 pin. And it gives you a chance. It's a little bit more forgiving a format.
That's right.
Hell, the pin he wanted to hit first, he didn't touch and missed it last. 34 pins through 4, and of course Jess, being a bowler with a 115 pin average, having his trouble getting locked in. Big break for Jimmy Orlandi. They're still falling, and now just the head pin.
He got from next to impossible to leave now. He's got a real easy shot right in the center of the lane, the head pin.
Jimmy's been bowling for 30 years, and when you've been bowling that long, single pins do not present that much of a problem. Coming up towards our first break in the show, our bowlers will take a timeout at the conclusion of the first 4 frames. Then we'll go on and finish game 1 for you. And Spread Eagle, I'm going to catch you up on the information that goes along with our home viewer participation segment due to start in a couple of weeks, while we stockpile some entries and some cards and some letters.
Oh, that's a great effort. Great effort. Everything went out. That's the way they actually go with the Spread Eagle out there. Just go ahead and split the 3 on the left-hand side and hope that the right-hand side follows like a domino effect.
Well, that's a super scramble for Jim Orlandi. And as we come up to the first break in the show, Jim Orlandi fashioning a 10-pin lead. And we'll be right back after this.
North Star Bowl in Wilmington, Vermont is on Route 100 just south of Mount Snow. It's owned and operated by Steve and Lynn Butler and is open 7 days a week for both league and open bowling. North Star Bowl is a family entertainment center for all ages. The youngsters love the video game room, and the Golden Agers enjoy half-price rates every Wednesday morning, as well as special motel bowling packages available during the summer. Come visit Steve and Lynn Butler soon at North Star Bowl just south of Mount Snow in Wilmington, Vermont, a 4-season resort and recreation area.
We can understand why a lot of rich people are buying the Hyundai Excel GLS. After all, it comes with a wealth of standard features, like front-wheel drive, European styling, deep pile carpeting, plush velour upholstery, and the luxury of stereo sound. But the truth is, to own one, you only have to be rich in wisdom. Hyundai, cars that make sense.
Hey, Betty, what's new?
Well, it surprised me, knocked me out with coconut. But surprised me, show me how you really do it up. You sweet talker, Betty Crocker, crazy and amaze me. Lead me down your rocky road. You sweet talker, Betty Crocker, take me over the rainbow. Just when I thought I'd seen it all, look what you go and do. Betty Crocker, you sweet talker, you.
Jacqueline Smith, a woman from another place.
She's been dead for nearly 50 years.
Another time.
What?
Another life.
She's dead.
Another death. The first time it was murder. Now it may be too late. For the first time on television, Jacqueline Smith, Deja Vu.
Sunday at midnight on TV 40.
All your help, all your strength, all your answers are in the house of the Lord. You go to God, He still answers prayer. He still meets the need. He still works miracles. He is victorious over the powers of the devil. Not your psychologist, not your latest guru, but the Lord Jesus Christ through the power of the Holy Spirit.
Don't miss this powerful message from Jimmy Swaggart this week.
And starting off the second half of Game 1 this afternoon, our challenger, Jess Heisler, and he had his troubles, to be perfectly honest, in the first 4 frames, and he's got trouble on 14 again. Only 3 pins down. First ball has got to do a little more damage, I think, to give him spare opportunities.
I think Jess is looking for his mark down here on the approach now. If you'll notice, that ball actually hit the approach out here. He's got to get his spot. He's still dropping a little bit, but a little bit better on that ball.
A little bit something to rally around there in the form of the 10 box. So in the absence of any marks by Jess Heisler through the first 5 frames, you have to take what you can get and try and build upon that. Jess's 5th appearance on the show, half Worcester left. I'd like to catch you up and get you up to speed on our home viewers segment, and we'll do that while Jess bowls here in the 6th. Beginning in a couple of weeks, at the beginning of each show, we'll draw 2 cards, and we will pair you viewers at home with one of our bowlers. Now, what you need to do if you want to be involved with that, and of course, if your bowler goes on to win that match, you'll receive a very nice gift certificate worth anywhere from $20 to $25 if your bowler wins. If your bowler loses, you still earn yourself a day of bowling at your home lane. So everybody comes out a winner, and you get to root on the bowler with which you've been paired. And that should be kind of exciting. What you need to do is send a postcard with your name and address on it to Let's Go Bowling, care of WGGB-TV, Post Office Box 40, Springfield, Massachusetts. And your card will go into the hopper, and if it's drawn and paired with a winning bowler, you come out a winner on Let's Go Bowling. So send those cards, because we'll be starting that in just a couple of weeks, 2 weeks.
Everything to gain, nothing to lose.
That's
Just
right.
send the card in. Become part of the program.
Look at it this way. For the cost of a postcard stamp, you're at least going to come away with a day of free bowling if you get drawn.
Exactly. Can't lose.
Pretty good exchange. Jim Orlandi not too thrilled with how things went, but he ups his lead and now has it to 9 pins. The 1-2 left for Jim here in the 6th. So far, neither one has been overpowering, but Jim has been perhaps a touch more consistent. And spare opportunity goes by the boards. You don't see him miss that very often. And Joan Yamilkowski, our lob line judge, will go down to get that wayward pin and put it back into the pit where it belongs. Boy, Jim Orlandi there isn't too much he hasn't done in his career as a bowler in Western Massachusetts and in New England.
One of the things that I talked to Jimmy earlier, right, when the show first started, he was the first bowler on the Let's Go Bowling show. He bowled out with Sharon Rawson. He was the first participant in the men's handicap portion of it. He was the first participant in the scratch portion of it. And lo and behold, if he isn't starting off our show over here, he's the first participant in the hour show. So he's been #1 on all 4 of our segments of this show.
He picks up his 10 and strides out to a 12-pin lead as we come up towards the end of Game 1. Jess Heisler needs to find his mark. That 7 pins stings him. Right. 4 horsemen plus the 7.
I think Jess is still dropping the ball a little bit out here, Hub. Again, shooting between $100 and $200 now. The money's going to start having a little effect on their nerves out here. They realize if they can stay on here for 4 or 5 weeks, the numbers can total up pretty quick.
Especially with all those incentives we named. I mean, if somebody goes ahead and Al Jess struggling with an 8, if someone can say, go ahead and pick up 3 consecutive strikes, plus the win, plus maybe the bonus shot at the end of the show, my goodness.
Right.
Maybe 3 consecutive strikes.
There we go. It's all out there. We're tremendously excited about this.
Better first ball. He's got a tough leave, obviously, with the 7 and the 10, but he did more damage on that first roll.
Yeah, he got the ball out in the lane. He wants that piece of wood now coming right through the center of the lane. He wants that up there. The back piece of wood really won't help him, but the piece that's just to the left center of the lane out here, if he hits that on the left-hand side of the nose, he's liable to be able to convert this shot. Oh, it's a nice shot. But again, he hit on the right. Yeah. Beautiful shot, right? I think if he would have gotten on the left-hand side, he probably would have been able to convert it.
Nice touch as it is. Jess Heisler now with a lane clean of pins, and he's right smack dab down the middle, so 8. And Jim Orlandi with a mark here could really establish control of this match. 12 pins it's a start, but it's nothing more than a start.
Again, reversing to our pre-show conversation out here, Jess had brought out the fact that, again, he can afford to drop a few pins behind. Not that far behind, but he's got 2 games to make it up. But you're right, Jimmy can really dig him in a hole now here. He can verse the 4, 7, 8 down here.
What are the odds of hitting that so square it goes right back through and the ball follows?
It's a game of inches down here now. What looks like a perfect hit is actually just a ½ inch off down there.
So. The experienced bowler doesn't go straight at those pins, but tries to use what's on the lane to his advantage. He almost pulled it off. Another pin to the lead, 13 now, separating our champion, Jim Orlandi. Can't buy the 10.
That was a perfect pocket hit out here. It's a crime out there. The 10-pin didn't go down. Still try to slam the forward up against the wall here. Great
That's
shot.
The shot he wanted on 14 for the spare, but did not get. Now a chance for a 10. Ooh, nice shot. He's a real advocate of pinning out.
Jimmy, we had talked about, one of his hints for bowlers again. He says the one thing that makes the game interesting and that determines a champion is pinning. And if you'll notice out here now, he's only left 2 pins standing in these first 8 frames. If you look at Jess out there, he's got the 2 8 frames and 2 7 frames. So he's already picked up 8 pins just by pinning out.
And Jess now staring at a very difficult 179, but boy, he picked it up. 179, that can be a real lift, too.
These guys haven't even started, Hub.
He's been searching for something to rally around, and the 179 is a good rallying point.
Beautiful shot. Just get this ball out in the lane now. He'll be doing fine. He's still dropping.
15 through 8, and tough fill. 4 pins.
He knows again. His only problem out here now is the ball's pounding into the approach. He's got to get it out on the lane.
When he has, he's enjoyed better success. Still a little bit shy of the foul line.
Exactly.
Chance for a 10, which would put him at 91. Keep in mind, that would be 24 pins below his average. Doesn't get it. So Jess Heisler ends up at an 89 count. There are no handicap pins figured in. This is scratch bowling. That's where he stands. And, of course, with Jimmy already 82 pins to his credit in the 8th, he can do some real damage. Half Worcester right. As we mentioned, something of a slow start, but by the time these 2 bowlers are through in that 3rd game, I think we'll see something. There aren't too many games. Bowling you name it, that require more patience than candlepin, because they're all out there and you want them all.
They all look so easy. They're just 60 feet away out there. But again, a 4.5-inch ball at a 2.5-inch target. You know, like you said, you really got to keep your cool, because what looks like a perfect hit down there results in a split a lot of times. Right there.
Spread eagle plus the 8.
Right there.
And not even addressing the fact that making all this more difficult, the pins that stay on the lane after they've fallen, which figure in so prominently to shot making.
They just commented how Jimmy pinned out. Now he just socks us with a 6-box over here in the ninth frame.
We're coming up on our second break. Jim Orlandi does not go in all that strong, and as a matter of fact, leads by only 5 pins. So while neither bowler's been able to light it up, they're still close. And we'll be back after this tour of an outstanding Western New England Candlepin Association facility.
The Big E is a gold mine of luxuriously handcrafted, hand-selected furniture, R&S Furniture. You'll find R&S Furniture inside the Big E by the Craft Center near the fire station. Stop by and see their outstanding selection of quality merchandise, as well as unique gift items in gold and diamond jewelry. What you see at the Big E, you'll find right in the R&S store. Furniture made with such care and attention to detail, they guarantee it for 15 years. Buy the best for less at R&S Furniture in the Big E in the Enfield Outlet Mall, Enfield.
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does? Okay, last time. This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
You can't find a better match than Bob Eubanks and those unpredictable newlyweds who pull no punches.
If you put my chest in front of a firing squad, you'd have nothing.
Yes, I have nothing now. It's a union where nothing's sacred.
I can't believe you guys asked these questions.
And there's no end to what they'll say.
No bones. He has no bones.
No bones. It's a tradition that's as much an institution as marriage itself.
She better not have said that.
Bob Eubanks at the new Newlywed Game. See what fun marriage can be.
The new Newlywed Game, weekdays at 4 on TV 40.
Time for Truth or Consequences. Hi, I'm Larry Anderson, and this is Murray.
Hi.
And now, what's my favorite color? You didn't tell the truth. Here's the consequence. Snow in their living room. And for being such great sports, a brand new car. Isn't this great?
Truth or Consequences. Outrageously unexpected.
Truth or Consequences, weekdays at 4:30 on TV 40.
And we start game number 2, and as we make the turn, our defending champion Jim Orlandi nursing a 5-pin lead. I'm sure you don't have to tell him that game 1 was not exactly a Hall of Fame performance.
Boy, that was long, and we had commented on him pinning out in every frame. He finished up with 2 6-boxes out here, but he's got the 5-9 here now. He's waiting for this piece of wood to settle down.
And getting through that little area or finding a way to get another pin to do the work for him is what he's considering right now.
He's going to go right at the 5-pin, left-hand side of the 5-pin. Right
Got
there.
it. Super shot. And that's another lesson, to just take that little extra time to work out the trajectory and to work out the angle in your mind before you let it fly. Over to 13. Starts out with a spare. 4 horsemen plus the 9.
Jimmy's put a little bit more on the ball out here now to try to get him to mix a little bit more. A little more velocity on the ball.
The adjustment that a bowler of his experience will make. And the 7-pin escapes by a fraction. This for the 10, which would put him at 25. That's a good 2-frame total. That's uncharacteristic. 24, and right away, Jess Heisler, a little bit of pressure, has to come up with an answer on that mark. Takes that practice slide. I've noticed he's done that a couple of times on lane 14. 6.
I'm sure he realizes what's happening out here. Again, he keeps looking down at the approach, and I think he's inching up just an inch at a time to try to see if he can get the ball out on the lane.
Didn't touch off the head pin. A little bit more confidence, I suspect, from Jess? He seems to be a bit more aggressive, a little less timid.
He wants to forget that 89 game. I mean, 115 average out here now. So he's got to throw 30 just to keep even. So he's looking at 125 game. That's what he's got his sights set on now.
Pin rolling around just a bit at the end of 14. And that's how you start to come back, by pinning out. And single pins had been a mystery in game number 1. Should mention that Frank Montagna from downtown Lane serves as our referee during this special 12-week series.
Right, in a case like this where you are going to be ruling for actually big dollars out here, it's best to have an official referee. And Frankie Montagna, who's the proprietor of the downtown lanes now, has volunteered his services.
Making some of those tough decisions on pins in play, how to play.
Right, exactly. I love this shot out here now that Jay just showed us out here. The superimposition out here. Well, we can look at it again because it's still standing out here now. This is 610. Actually, Jess out there, that was a ball that he should have just hit the wood right here on the right-hand side.
That's what he wanted.
Just like that, exactly.
A ball late. And it costs him a mark. And going to cost him 4 more pins. He trails by 9 in the match now. And we're going to be taking a break at the conclusion of the first 4 frames of this game, just as we did in game 1. In a sense, bowlers accustomed to appearing on the show are used to that quick 2-game format. So now we're throwing the brakes in there to give them a breather.
Right. They'll love it. I'm sure you're going to see what you're going to see is the top quality bowlers coming out now and trying for these large sums of money.
4-7, not enough of an angle of deflection. Jim Orlandi still searching. I've seen him put together some games you wouldn't believe and some finishes you wouldn't believe. 33 pins to 3.
Jimmy asked me before the show, do we get a special prize for a 400 series? Right now, he's looking at a 200 game if he wants to crack 400.
Yeah, nice job to carry out the left side. Still has the 6-pin. And a pin now that I don't think Frank's going to have a tough time ruling this one out of play.
Right.
Joan takes care of it. Sends it back down the lane in 14. And out of the way of Jim Orlandi.
A match like this, you really don't need a lot line, Jim. But these 2 bowlers, they really lay the ball down.
Oh. That's not how you diagram it at home. And 42 pins. So while we take a break with Jim, Jess will try to... I'll tell you, the door is just swinging wide open for him.
Bing, bing. He
just put his foot in it.
Right. See,
that's the first real breakthrough. And Jess needed it because even with Jim not lighting it up, he was slipping farther behind in game 2. 7 on the first ball.
Right.
Jess's high single, a 190, and you take a look at Jimmy's high single, 189, so both these guys can light it up.
Oh, beautiful
picks
shot.
It up for the spare. You talk about a way to go into the break. That's how Jess Heisler goes, and all of a sudden, we've got a match. We'll be back right after this.
This is Jeep's all-new 4-liter 6-cylinder engine. It has sequential molded-point electronic fuel injection. It puts out 173 horsepower and 220 foot-pounds of torque. But most important, if you put this new engine in a Jeep Cherokee or Jeep Comanche, you're going to see more speed and power than you've ever seen from vehicles like this. Just remember where you saw it first.
For a limited time, get the lowest finance rates ever now on selected leftover Jeeps.
You do a lot for your lawn. You sprinkle, fertilize, and mow. But now fall's coming, and it's time to give your lawn the most important treatment of all. It's time for Wintergreen, the fall fertilizer. Wintergreen's special formula greens now and helps build strong root systems so your lawn will wake up next spring greener and thicker than ever. Don't let your lawn go to bed hungry. Feed it Wintergreen, the fall fertilizer. Or two-way Wintergreen to weed and feed from Greenview.
This man will do absolutely anything to find out the real facts for you. He's consumer expert David Horowitz. Fight Back with David Horowitz puts the spotlight on products that claim to be the best. Will that deadbolt block stand up to enormous pressure? Find out on Fight Back with David Horowitz.
Remember what I always say, stay aware and informed, and fight back, and don't let anyone rip you off.
Fight Back with David Horowitz, Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on TV 40.
The Springfield Public Schools welcome volunteers of all ages and backgrounds, senior citizens, business people, faculty and students from local colleges. I am a parent volunteer and love being a part of the educational process. Join me and call Springfield School Volunteers today at 787-7015, 787-7015.
Well, if you just joined us, it's almost as if we've read 3/4 of War and Peace. We've been that far. Jim Orlandi, spread eagle minus the 10. And Jess Heisler starting out very slowly as they made the turn through game 1. Jim nursing a 5-pin lead and indeed hiked that to 9 through the second frame of this game, and Jim still searching. But all of a sudden, Jess Heisler with a strike in the 3rd and spare in the 4th has come right back and through 3 frames. Suddenly leads by 2. And Jim showing no signs of snapping out of the trance.
Right.
Could happen at any time, but...
There he goes. Everybody wants lane 13. There you go.
Boy, that pin died hard, didn't it?
Jimmy jumped right off the approach there to pull that pin with him.
Throwing everything, trying to get that mark. Now, Jess is shooting for $25 in bonus money, but more importantly, 25 might get you 200.
Yeah, he's back on the head pin now. If you notice, the ball is getting out in the lane out here. He's got the 2-4 out here now, and all he wants is a 2-pin.
Just happened in the last 3 frames. Sure. He went the first 12, searching, and picks it up.
There we go.
So Jess has found the mark.
Start ringing up the till. It was $25 with that shot.
That's right.
25 for each one more.
25 for each consecutive one after that. Bowling here in the second half of game 2. 6. 74.
Let's get the 1, 3, 6, and 8 down here.
Now leads by 18 pins in the match. So what a swing. A little bit of a skip, but he picks it up.
25 more. All those doubting Thomases that thought this was a tournament of champions out here up now. Now we got the last lap. These guys can really roll this ball, and I think we're tremendously excited about the 1-hour segment, the quality of bowlers.
How about a double?
Yeah.
Jim Orlandi.
This is good.
I was just going to say before we went down the runway that Jess is catching fire. We'll probably catch Jimmy with fire.
You see this so many times in a regular match game, Hub. When somebody punches on a set of lanes, everybody punches. He's got it.
Triple.
He's got it. There it goes.
And we're talking some more bonus money.
We're talking big money out here. Barbican's get all nervous with the checkbook out here now. I love to see this out here now. You've got 8 marks out in here. It's
oh, ye of little faith out there in TV land who thought we would plot our way through 3 games.
It's brought from Channel 40 and Western New England Candlepin Association, bringing you the best in the game today.
Jim Orlandi with 3 consecutive strikes, and suddenly, through 6 frames in game 2, Jim Orlandi trails by 7 in this game, but only 2 in the match.
Well, if you notice, Jimmy's like they say a sleeping giant. See, what Jess did was wake him up. He didn't want to throw that 4th mark in a row. He woke Jimmy up.
Oh, the price you have to pay if you're Jess Heisler is once you do that, you'd better keep him coming.
He's got him, that's right. He'll come back again. Jess, I said at the beginning, remember, he's looking at a 120-25 game. He's right around there.
4 horsemen in the 9, but once again, a little too much work to do on ball number 2.
Yeah. Here we
this
go.
Is makeable, but it's got to be right there.
Right. The shot again. He's looking right now to split the 1-2.
He was to the right of the head pin.
Seeing a shot like that for, once a week bowler, not to comment on it, you don't want to miss that shot on the right-hand side. You want to miss it on the left-hand side, because missing it on the left-hand side, he would have cleared those 3 pins.
That's right. He would have carried something with him. And now he's right back to a 6 box. Now, right. Jim Orlandi, the question is, what does he do? 95 pins through 7 at Jim. You talk about all sorts of momentum with 3 consecutive strikes, and
He's right on that head pin now.
He's got the 9-10 down there, but he's going to look this over now. I think he's going to take a deep breath after this now. He hit the head pin after the triple was what you wanted to do, but now he's thinking about adding it up because he wants to be back here next week. I think he's going to go way down left on this shot. It's a gambling way to do it, but I think he will.
He carried everything but the 7.
Right. Again, some second guessers will say, why didn't he come at this front piece of wood out here? I don't think that was a shot.
Right through, but still a 9 box. And all of a sudden, Jimmy Orlandi, through 8 frames, has a 32-pin lead in the match.
Right, but again, 32 pins. You can see the swing out here. Just swing this whole match down 25 pins inside of 3 frames. So
still has 3 at the end of 13.
Right.
3, 6, 7.
Right, he's got the 3 pin now. He can hit this right or left and actually convert this shot out here.
Got it.
Bingo. He's actually going to fill this spare now. Unlike the half-hour format out here, he'll stay right on the lanes now.
He'll take care of it right now.
That's right. He'll finish it right up. So we're looking at 100.5 here right now.
Already. And that's not even if he's won yet. 4 Horsemen, he loses the 2-pin. So 16 more, and Jim Orlandi puts, oh my, a 153 game. Jess Heisler looks into the jaws of quite an effort.
Just wants to come out with 30 pins out of this. And that's all he's thinking about now. He's thinking of Mark with a good fill, and he's still in contention. So he's not out of this ball game by far. He wants the wood to go back.
And lock in.
Yeah.
Not going to move.
Right, he's got a shot. If he wants to miss it, he wants to miss it on the left-hand side.
Because he might squeeze that ball between the 2. See, he was too far to the right because the ball caromed away.
Right. That's the easiest shot in the world to pick out when all 10 pins are up.
Yeah.
But it's the hardest shot to convert him. I know it sounds weird, but it is.
Nice job to come back and get the single pin for the 10, but a missed opportunity there to really take the sting out of Jimmy Orlandi's charge. Coming up on the end of game 2, Jim Orlandi with that 153 has taken control of this match. Jess Heisler needs to try to establish something.
Just back on the head pin now, if you notice up now. He's got the 2-4-5 out here. If he can convert this and throw a 9 drop on here, he's got himself a 130 game. He's not that far behind.
And he's still going to lose ground with that, which is a testimony to Jim's effort.
Right, he pulled that. You could see him pulling that when he was going in.
It was Jess who caught fire first in this second game. But the last laugh could be Jim Orlandi's because he responded with 3 consecutive strikes. And as we make the turn, 33 more pins to the credit of Jim Orlandi. He leads by 38. We'll be back for the last game right after this.
High-performance luxury sedans traditionally ask you to pay a pretty dear price. Well, that's not the Mazda way. Mazda's all-new 929 has world-class luxury appointments. It's amazingly quiet, solid riding, and actually outperforms those guys. Now there's less standing between you and a car this good. About $8,000 less.
A better luxury car value like this comes from our intense commitment to your total satisfaction. That's the Mazda way.
The next 30 seconds are filled with money-saving ideas from Piroways. It's just what you've been waiting for. Tremendous values on appliances featuring Maytag, Whirlpool, and Gibson. On TVs and VCRs featuring Magnavox, Zenith, Sylvania, and RCA. And gigantic savings on quality furniture, recliners, and bedding. No one else can give you more spectacular savings than Piroways because if you can buy it anywhere else for less, Piroways will refund the difference. So hurry down to Piroways because time is running out.
After 22 years, Bob Eubanks is still making marriage a laughing matter.
Got my bra over his eyes. He called himself the Mosquito Bandito.
He's a rascal.
You sure you don't want the whooping fairy to come over?
He's a referee.
Excuse me.
He's the champ.
Oh, well, then why didn't you say that in the first place?
Because my mother's watching.
Bob Eubanks and the new Newlywed Game. They're as much an institution as marriage itself.
The new Newlywed Game, weekdays at 4 on TV 40.
Something's happening on our magazine.
The stuff is called crack, by the way, because of the noise that it makes during the heating process.
I found out something wonderful. What do I do? How do I do it? What do you think?
I was trying to be something I could never be again, which was young.
I know the feeling of being out of control.
I've been in jail several times because of my drinking.
These quotes, all right.
No.
The trouble is I probably said it.
Weekday mornings at 9 on TV 40.
Heisler with a mountain to climb, 38 pins down. And veering right, 38 pins down. He had taken a 2-pin lead in game number 2. And then the lights flickered and died when Jim Orlandi put 3 strikes together. And that's how you come back, though. Just as I'm digging the grave, he puts his hand up and says, not quite so fast.
He's got it all figured out. What he's going to do is throw 3 marks in a row now and then open. He's not going to wake up Jimmy on this one over here. He's going to chop into the lead real slow.
Well, he did nick the head pin, and now he's got a great chance for a second consecutive spare.
Right.
And a chance to perhaps mount at least a chart. Right. That's the great thing about the format. He can perhaps, and I'm not meaning to be too harsh here, he can still lose, but because of the incentives along the way, it can keep you interested. But he's not thinking about just settling for second place cash yet.
So I think Jess was indecisive on that shot out here. That's a shame because that's actually was a shot that he could have taken a little bit more time to decide whether or not he wanted to go right and left out there.
29 through 2, 10 pins in the second frame. Jim Orlandi leads by 38. Doesn't seem content with 38, does he?
And he's creaming the ball down here now. He's actually got a very difficult shot down here. Now, when the wood is rolling in here now, it'll make it, depending on where it's going to lie, an easy shot or a very difficult shot.
While that pin settles down, perhaps a quick word on how our bowlers qualify.
Right, Hub. This format is a little bit different than our half-hour show. All a bowler has to do to qualify for this special segment is to notify the lane operator that he wants to use his 3 strings that he's bowling in his regular league match. He posts those scores on the night that he bowls. At the end of each week, the top 5 qualifiers from each house will then go to a site selected by the Western New England Candlepin Association for the final roll-off. The final roll-off is not a 3-string roll-off, it's a 5-string roll-off. The winner there comes to appear here on television. So once again, no entry fee. All you have to do is let your lane operator know that you want to qualify, use your league scores, and hope that you're one of the top 5 in each establishment.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and the convenience factor definitely there. You can bowl your league games and also take your shot at the show.
You're there anyway, right. So all you got to do is turn your name in. Why not turn your name in? Give it a try.
2 spares for Jim Orlandi. He just is not giving an inch. He's not giving Jess an opening, and the good bowlers will do that. They'll just keep the flame turned up high.
Yeah, see, if he had a home viewer problem now, partner out here, she'd be smiling for Jim Orlandi.
That's right.
Get those cards and send those cards and become part of the show.
A couple of weeks from now, we will be pairing you viewers at home with our competitors. Jess Heisler with 39, and that's his best pin count through 3 frames of any game so far.
His quick start with 2 10s again, but he's looking at that 8-9 pin down there that I think he could have played on the other side of the wood.
He's on it.
He's got the ball in there now. You'll notice he's not dropping the ball. The ball's out on the lane.
5 pin.
He had mentioned it. If he was trying to teach a young bowler what tip he would give him or her, and he would say it's very important to get your spot on the approach. Now, there's a classic example. He was searching in those first 2 games. He's got his spot now, and the ball is delivered out into the lane.
Really, since the middle of game 2, he's been very strong. It's just that Jim Orlandi's been awesome.
Yep.
He's on the head pin. I mean, he may be to the right, he may be to the left or down the center, but he's finding the head pin and enjoying the pin count that usually follows on that first ball. In stages. No,
beautiful shot.
Just 2 stages.
Right. He got 25 more. He took a day off from work, but he's got today and tomorrow paid for already.
3 consecutive spares to start game number 3. And indeed, through 2 frames, has a 42-pin lead. And Jess hasn't bowled poorly.
Right. Well, the good thing about about this. Now, Jess has still got a chance to make some money out here, even if he doesn't catch Jimmy, as far as the total pin count goes.
And that pin's going to have to come back. Joan indicating that that ball got out a little bit too far.
I don't think that Jimmy lobs 3 balls in 3 years. I'm really shocked at that.
He finishes for what would be a 10 ordinarily, but because of the lob, ends up a 9. Costs him a pin. I don't think he's going to sweat that right now. But in a match that may be coming up, say, perhaps next week against Bob Rouillette from Canal Lanes, hey, it could happen.
That's right.
4 pins at the end of lane 14. 1, 2, 4, 10.
And see, Jess is not really on his game again. We had commented earlier, he had the 4 horsemen on the left-hand side, and he missed to the right again. You don't want to do this. So he can tell right now he's really not at the peak of his game. There's where you want to miss the shot if you're going to miss it.
At least you'll take 1 with you.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
I think Jess perhaps succumbing a little bit to the huge deficit he faces. Sometimes that can bear heavily, while some bowlers respond to that.
Now, this is what usually happens. You know, you leave the 5, 7, 10 clean like that, and this piece of wood's going to come in on the right-hand side and probably help him just a little bit. And next to that, it's actually like an impossible shot.
For those unfamiliar with candlepin bowling, there is actually a bit of an indentation at the end of that lane.
Yeah, there's 3/4 of an inch drop, right? The plates are out here. And one of the rules they're contemplating out here while we have that nice two-way shot out here now is they're thinking about changing the rule hub, whereas the rule stands right now that you had to wait for that wood to stop. One of the proposals is that you're going to be able to shoot at a moving piece of wood.
What are your thoughts about that?
Again, what it's going to do is speed up league play. That's basically what it is for. So you can say it's for you or against you, but they are talking about it because right now, with referee Frankie Montagna here, if that wood was moving, he would have to call that shot. So now they're saying that the proposal is they are going to go ahead and consider seriously whether or not you can shoot at moving wood. They should vote on that before the first of the year.
Now, would there be anything involved in that proposal that would then predicate that you could not wait until it stopped, or you can just take as long as you want?
No, you can shoot whenever you want. Shoot whenever you want, right. The rule is right now that you can't shoot while it's moving.
A lot more latitude involved in something like that. I'm not sure there'd be might be a little bit of a hue and cry from some of the old-timers who might not like that.
That's true, too.
Because with a moving piece of wood, there might be the indicate you can get lucky.
Oh, exactly. See, exactly. Right. But again, it's strictly for the speeding up of the game is what it is. And taking some of the pressure off of the teammates. In other words, the fellas bowling. This is another referee shot out here now where part of the wood is actually extending into the channel. What makes it playable and what not. Right there. Frankie's got a call. Frankie called it good. Now, I wish we could show that back on slow-mo. It's funny how things are happening, just like you can actually call a shot. There was a case there where part of the wood went into the channel. He has got to make contact with that piece of wood while the ball is on the plate. The old-fashioned rule is the ball left the plate, it was in the gutter, above the gutter, it doesn't count anymore. So that was a great call by Frankie Montagna. Jay's got time, he can bring that shot back to us like they do on ABC, right up and bring it back and show us the ball sticking right out there hitting that piece of wood. He's got the 9-10 here with double wood. This is the same shot Jimmy Orlandi just converted. And remember over here where he splashed the wood out and got the 2 on the left and 2 on the right. He wants to plow straight into him. Nah, he's way
doesn't
up.
Get it, doesn't touch
no,
up.
He's not staying down. Jess is not staying down.
Through 5 frames of game number 3, Jim Orlandi has added 6 more and leads by 44. Just to update you, we've been perhaps ranging somewhat afield talking about some of these rules, but Jim Orlandi has not lost control of this match, and indeed, are there any other rules changes under consideration?
Those are basically the major rule changes. They try to keep the game, like you had mentioned, you don't want to aggravate the old-timers, and candlepins is candlepins. It was what it is, and it's going to stay this way, you know, for decades to come. But they're trying to modify the game to speed it up a little bit. A league should not bowl longer than 2 hours, and you get some leagues now that are going 2 3/4 hours. So this is one of the reasons they're trying to move it along.
And Jess Heisler still struggling to put together some pin count. It just has not been easy. Keep in mind, we still have a little bit of excitement left, even if Jim Orlandi is firmly in control. And that's the bonus shot coming up. And for our right-hander, that's going to be the old 6-7.
Right.
And for a left-hander like Jimmy Orlandi, well, he'll be going at the other angle, the 4-10.
4-10, exactly.
And That shot is going to be worth $50 to start, and then if they both miss it, we'll go ahead and pitch in along the lines of $25 more, and then we'll just build that until someone decides to take it out. That could get exciting.
That can get tremendously exciting. We do know of another show somewhere that's here out here where they have the high-low jack, and we didn't want to clone type that, so we've got a shot that we think is makeable, yet it's very, very difficult.
That's one of the things about, and I'm not going to offer a disparaging remark, but the high-low jack is so tough.
Yeah.
That the odds of picking it up are so great.
Well, I think they had a show somewhere where they actually have the 710 and they're offering a new car. A new car, all aged.
Oh, my.
They say any shot is makeable.
You know, in a way, that's like the old promotion for the Continental Basketball Association where they put the car at center court at the half of their all-star game, opened the sunroof, and if your paper airplane went inside the car, you drove it away.
That's true. I was down on one of those games. I was beating up the kid stealing his program so I could throw it out there.
That's right. And Jim Orlandi waiting for that wayward pin to find its place. He's put just about all the pins in their place lately.
Jimmy's hinted again. We're going to try to do this from the championship bowlers. Ask them what if they had to teach a youngster or a once-a-week bowler, what is their hint? And Jimmy's was not to try to overpower the ball. Now, he's a perfect example of that. Jimmy's a big man, 6'3", 6'4". He's got to go close to 190 pounds. He could zip that ball down here. But you notice he put a little bit more in a ball, but not enough to overpower it. So that's his hint. You don't have to kill the pins. You have to hit them, regardless of your size.
There were a couple of frames as he adds 13 and now leads by 51. There were a couple of frames where he was experimenting with just how much to mix that ball and was over a little bit, but he drew it back.
That's right. That's exactly
Jess
right.
Heisler, good hit. The kingpin remains.
Jimmy will start off slow, and then he'll add power to it. You don't want to go in reverse.
Much easier to do that than scale it back.
That's right.
Right on, Jess Heisler. Take what you can get at this stage, and I'll bet as he saw that ball power in and take out 9, he just wistfully thought, what if? Yeah. And he had that in the middle of the second game. And back to Death Valley on the left side. He still managed 7, though.
I would like to see Jimmy pull this in now. Jess, pull this in now and finish up with a strike. Take home $25.
No, he just wasn't on it. So now he can end at 117, which would put him at 326. 325 for Jess Heisler. 116, by the way, is 1 pin over his average. You take away that disastrous first game, 89, and this is the match.
That's right.
It's ironic. We were saying that the first game in a 3-game format isn't crucial. In this case, it is crucial because it's the one that Jess had trouble with.
Right. And Jimmy had a lot to do with that triple strike, too. It really socked him in a hole out here.
That's right. So. And it's 3 games total pinfall.
Here's that 710 for the new car hub.
Hung on, picked it up. Jim does not get the keys.
No. Jimmy, again, out of being the first, as we had mentioned, he was the first participant in each one of the shows. He lost one, so he's 3 for 4 in his initial appearance on the 4 different segments of this program.
Oh, just right down to the end, lanes 13 and 14 are going to sit there and say, not so easy.
Yeah.
Picks it up, goes to a 10. 122, Jim Orlandi, our winner this afternoon. And we'll be back with a shot at the bonus shot right after this.
The 1988 Renault Medallion. With more standard horsepower than Nissan 200SX. More passenger room than Oldsmobile Calais. $1,000 less than Mazda 626. Medallion Wagon is available with 7 passenger seating. Plus Medallion 6 years, 60,000-mile warranty. Standard.
No Jeep Performance.
For a
limited time, get the lowest finance rates ever now on selected leftover Renaults.
We want fish sticks that come out of a microwave crunchy,
not soggy.
That's why we created new Gorton's microwave crunchy fish sticks and fillets.
But are they crunchy?
They're mild white fish with no preservatives.
But are they crunchy?
Packed in Gorton's advanced microwave containers.
But are they?
So they come out crunchy.
That's what we've been waiting for.
Trust Gorton's for fish the way you want it. New Gorton's microwave crunchy and regular crunchy. The same great fish.
Can't find a better match than Bob Eubanks and those unpredictable newlyweds who pull no punches.
If you put my chest in front of the firing squad, you'd have nothing.
Yes, I have nothing now.
It's a union where nothing's sacred.
I can't believe you guys asked these questions.
And there's no end to what they'll say.
No bands. He has no bands.
No bands.
It's a tradition that's as much an institution as marriage itself.
She better not have said that.
Bob Eubanks at the new Newlywed Game. See what fun marriage can be.
The new Newlywed Game, weekdays at 4 on TV 40.
Just when you thought the neighborhood was safe, guess who's back?
Dennis Mitchell.
That's right.
Hi, Mr. Wilson.
It's that little mischief maker himself.
Your life will never be the same.
Brand new Dennis. Same old menace.
I was afraid of that.
He'll lift your spirits.
Dennis?
Hold on to your funny bone for the all-new Dennis the Menace.
Dennis the Menace, Sunday afternoon at 3 on TV 40.
It's bonus time here on Let's Go Bowling, and Jim Orlandi, our champion, gets first crack at the 410 on 13, and he sent the ball the way of the 10, but he didn't quite get it. Now our runner-up, Jess Heisler, gets his chance at the bonus shot, and that's on lane 14 in the form of the 6-7. One for the 6 and 7, and he's a little bit right of the 6 pin, and as a result does not get over and pick up the 7 pin. But right down to the bitter end, we've got both of our bowlers competing for cash and prizes here on Let's Go Bowling, and while Jimmy Orlandi tucks this one away by a fairly substantial margin, Jess Heisler is not without some bright spots. You put together the $100 in runner-up money. You also got $50 in bonus money. I'd like to give you that check right now, and also congratulate you on once again being on the show and qualifying. I'd like to ask you, you seem to get it going a little bit in game number 2. You put together the marks and put some pressure on.
Yeah, and then he threw a triple and put the pressure right back on me, and that got me tight all over again. So I never was loose at all today.
Okay, Jess, well, thanks very much, and we thank you very much for participating in the show. Jess Heisler, he's always going to give you a battle. Did he wake you up a little bit? Was that a function of that, do you think?
Yeah, he threw those 4 marks in a row. I said, I better get going.
What did you do to bring it around and get your game going?
I don't know. It just happened all of a sudden. I can't really explain it.
Okay, well, sometimes the best things are tough to explain. We'll go ahead and go over the prize money for Jim now. $200 for the victory, $100 for that triple strike, $25 for 3 consecutive marks in the second game, and then $25 more for 3 consecutive marks in the third game. You got yourself $350. You're going to at least get $100 next week, so you're cashing in big time on the new format. Jim Orlandi, nice job. Jim Orlandi, it is indeed a nice payday, and of course that means he'll be back next week. That's all the time we have for this edition. So for now, what's the word? Let's go bowling. We'll see you next week.
Watch closely because I'm going to